Hello, welcome back to Uncle Buck's Garage. We're going to put the alternator, the accessories. I'm going to show you how to line up the pulley system, make sure everything's right. I got a special little thing for the power steering pump that I think you're going to want to check out. Some part that you might want to look for in the future. Okay, now we've got the water pump on, we've got fuel pump on, we have the water neck on. Now we need to talk about the alternator. Okay, an alternator is going to take some specific little hardware. It comes with the bracket that comes here, and then it takes a couple of 5/16 stud, a 5/16 screws in there, and these are specific types of connections because these threads aren't that long, and this thread isn't that long. So I use these. I get these. I'm gonna clean these up before I use them, but I use these, and what I call these are SLBs. What I call stubby little bastards. Right? I've got a bag. SLBs. I collect them up. All right. So these little have the nice head on them, 3/8 threads, short. You're going to be using these a lot. Like if I want to put a ground strap here, I'll be using a SLB, a stubby little bastard, to put in here because it's the same threads there. And it's just a nice, if you start taking engines apart, if you do, and you come across these 3/8 little short ones like this, keep them because they're worth their weight in gold, right? SLBs, stubby little bastards. Anyways, so they go here, and then my bracket's going to go here. I'm going to clean these up, take the wire wheel of death to them, clean these up, and then we'll get the bracket in, and I'll show you how to set all that up. The next thing to go on is going to be the alternator bracket. And like I said, just use my little short stubbies. Got some paint on them now, and they're clean. And you can go ahead and snug these down because this isn't going to move. There's top bracket. Bottom bracket goes right here. Again, short stubbies. We threw some paint on just to make them look pretty for now. You can go ahead and tighten this one down. This one is the one that goes through the alternator, and this one bolts in there, and then this piece goes here as a spacer for the alternator itself. Okay, you guys recognize this one from a previous video. This one goes in here like this. Screws in place, and then this goes up in here in between everything, and then we're going to put our mounting bolt in there. Now I want to talk about this bolt right here, this alternator top bolt. Now this bolt is not the one that came in this alternator, because the one that was in this alternator was really short, and I want this plug right here is a fine threaded 5/16, okay, but I want it sticking out the backside. I want full engagement for all those threads. If you go short, it's sticking out on the backside. If you go short and you don't gauge all them threads, you take a chance of pulling the threads on that, and then you got to drill it, bolt it from the backside. It's a complete pain in the ass. But so if you get an option, this is an inch long, 5/16, an inch long, 5/16 fine threaded bolt to go through the whole thing all the way to the back. Full engagement on those threads, you'll never have a problem. And after you got all that bolted up, then it's just a matter of plugging it in right here like this, and then this bolts up to there, the lead on it, and you're done. And then you can start playing with cleaning up and moving things around and putting things down and up and making them all kind of look good. Okay, so we got this part done, waiting on the paint to dry for the, oh, I got one more thing. Yep, like that. And you don't want to tighten this all the way down right now. We're just going to do one just to hold it in place. So centered like that, because we need to check the alignment from that pulley to that pulley to that pulley. Checking the alignment from your pulley, from your bottom pulley to your top pulley, that's an easy one. You can just basically look down, you can see they're lined up. Now the alternator pulley, that's a different story. Now it looks pretty close, but the easiest way to do this is just use straight edge. And we're just going to throw her up against there and we're going to push it. So if that is lined up with that, that should be pretty close. I would say that's good enough for government work for the days that the girls that I date. So I think we're pretty good. Now it's going to be a matter of waiting for the paint to dry, and we're going to check that power steering pump. So we're getting there. This is a special find I wanted to tell you guys about. This was off of a parts truck that I just got in, and this is a power steering bracket for a power steering pump. And this actually mounts here instead of up in here or here for the power steering pump. And it's an actual nice solid thick 1/4 inch bracket that molds on these two bolts that basically aren't used, and it mounts the power steering pump right here, right next to the pulley. And it's out of the way, nothing hits. The only thing I don't like about it is it's designed to have a stud up in here from this front mount to here, or actually the way it's actually kind of made is made from one of those heads, those manifolds that has the extra bolt hole on the side. Now I could probably elongate that hole or make it kind of work or weld, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I really don't think, as thick of a bracket as that is, I don't think this is necessary up here. So we're probably going to cut this off, grind it up, make it look nice, and use it that way. So that's what I'm going to do. And of course, to bolt it up, we're going to use some of the short little bastards, and I'll show you what it looks like with bolted. Okay, so I just have this mocked up. I just have a couple of little LSBs, little stubby bastards in there, and we'll see how this lines up here. Now I could make a spacer and take a bolt and run it through the header, which I really don't like the way that looks. I really don't like the way that big old honking piece right there looks. So I think what we're going to do, because the power steering pump bolts there, there's adjustment there, there's adjustment here for, adjusting it just like an alternator. So I think we're going to cut this off. We're going to start about right here, and we're just going to work it off at an angle with the cutting wheel, and we're going to make that look pretty. Because it's going to get bulky in here anyways. But to hook up to the power steering pump, it runs everything inside and just loops it over and connects to here, which cleans this up a whole bunch. If you're here right now and you're watching, smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. So I think that's what we're going to do. Boy, this is getting dusty. Need to clean that off. All right. More little short bastards to come. We'll clean these up. We'll cut this off. We'll paint these and make it look good. Now this is not a final product because I'll blast it. I'll paint it. I don't know if I want to go orange or if I want to go black with this. I don't know what color I want to paint the bolt heads because I got a couple little stubby bastards in there. But this is basically, she's not tight, but think of it as a power steering pump right here, opening right here, straight up and down, inside the frame rail, adjustability here, just like an alternator, set point here, and there's an extra, there's 2 bolts here, and there's a rocking point that mounts the pump to this with the adjustment here, which I'll have access to back here. So I really don't think that piece from here to here was necessary. So that's just, I had to make it in 2 cuts because, you know, cutoff wheel. So I had to make a cut here and a cut here, and then I kind of blended it off and took the flapper disc to it and the wire wheel, cleaned it all up. But I think that turned out pretty good. Main brace that runs through here, the backing plate, which is where the adjustment comes, and it did have a super long return line. Basically just trimmed this one down and I cleaned it up with the hand cleaner, the old hand cleaner trick. Put some new clamps on it because this is a return. It's nice and clean now where it was huge. All right, so that bolted up, and like I said, this is a really slick setup. It basically lets you adjust as you go. Okay, and this little tab right here is basically what you can use to put some leverage on it, to put the tension on it. So we'll put the belt on it because you got to put the power steering belt on first before you put the alternator belt on. And I would have preferred to be a double belt because those always seem to work better, but it doesn't really matter right now because I'm just happy. I'm very, very happy with the way this sets up. And it goes in the back. Then I'm going to end up with a extra pulley because that's why I say I wish I'd had a double, because they just seem to work better. They don't slip as much, but if it does slip, I'll show you a trick how to fix that without having to take everything apart. But that's all there is to it. And then I'm going to get a crescent wrench and put some tension on it. And then all I got to do is tighten up this one bolt nut, just like an alternator, just like the alternator bracket. It's a dynamite setup. If you're still here and you like what I do, check out the links down below. Help support the channel. Like I said, I'm just using this crescent wrench on that nub just to put a little tension on it. See, it's just that simple. And then we're just going to tighten the bolt up just like an alternator bracket. Done. Now, is that not slick? I really like that. Like I said before, if you guys out there have any of these that I can cut down to work, let's make a deal. And we're just going to use my favorite tool in the whole world, my super oversized flat screwdriver, my catch-all. He this little job handles all of it. And we're just going to do just like we did with the power steering pump. We're just going to put a little tension on it. We're just going to tighten her down. Boom. Now I will tell you one trick. Now going to the parts store and getting an alternator belt for a 78 Chevy with a 350 motor, that's the easy part. It's finding this. Okay. That was a half an hour of my life I couldn't get back because this pump is not factory for this setup at all. So I was lucky enough to have the belt that was actually on it off the truck that took it off, and that was a half an hour. That was half an hour of the parts guy trying to find me a replacement. Now it ended up being about a half an inch shorter, which is fine because there was plenty of adjustment there. But yeah, always, if you know you're going to use something that hasn't originally went back on, if it's a belt driven, keep the belt, take the belt with you to the parts store. And the last thing is, this has been a couple of days. I spun her over. I started her just momentarily, just to knock all the bubbles out of the system. It sat here for a couple of days. No leaks, no runs, no drips, no errors, no jumping belts. So I think we're good. But like I said, you guys, if any of you guys out there have that setup, email me. I'd really like to get one or two of those on the shelf for future use. We're just going to put on parts. I've got a truck bed full of boxes of things that we're going to put on this truck. Now comes the fun part. Now I do have a floor pan I have to put on the passenger side of this one because I found some cancer a little bit that I want to get rid of, and so I bought a full pan, half pan. We're going to be doing that pretty soon, and I do have to rebuild steering column because the steering column that's in that truck is for 300 tree, and we're got automatic sitting in it. So that 300 tree doesn't work well for trying to shift gears and getting it right. So I've got a really nice steering column out of a different truck that we're going to use. But it's going to be, this point on, we're putting parts on and we're moving forward. And I'm really hoping to have this thing done by cruise night season, because Muldrow, Oklahoma has a huge cruise night. It's big, end to end, town to town, 5 miles of cruise night. And there's burnout contests and there's bands and there's everything. And it's great. And we're going to be there. We're going to be set up and we're going to be videoing. We're making videos about that, because cruise nights around this area, the Oklahoma area, is big. They're big, big, big. And everybody has a lot of fun. It's all the kids come out and we're all having a good time. Let's make some sparks and get things flying. And I do have to put exhaust on it. And I have an idea for the exhaust. It's a tribute to my father. And you're gonna have to watch out for that one, because that one's gonna be fun. This one, even though it's stock, it's gonna be loud. It's gonna be obnoxious. And all the neighbors are gonna know I'm here. And that's the way my dad liked it. So if you're still here, like, share, and subscribe. Smash that button. Tell your friends. Y'all have a great day. Because a great day today can be an even better day tomorrow. Y'all be good.